The Horniman Museum in South London is an excellent place to take children on a day out, whilst also having enough depth that it's going to interest most adults as well. It's a combination anthropology and natural history museum. For young people and for many others, I think the park and the area around it is going to be a real highlight. I loved the butterfly house and the aquarium. I'm a complete sucker for looking at pretty fish, and even the more traditional museum displays are going to appeal to children simply through the fascinating items that you can see on display. Do be aware though that the aquarium and the butterfly house are charged, even though the museum as a whole is free. It's a collection that is inherently problematic because of the way that it was formed. It originated from a Victorian collection of world peoples and world animals that in this day and age is slightly problematic, and the museum staff have dealt with that very well, most famously through returning of the Benin bronzes and retaining only a small number on display in the museum as a loan. But you can really see how more generally the museum has just tried to engage with the members of the cultures that it represents. The displays are done through a series of what they call encounters, so each culture gets a small insight into an aspect of it that bring into account the views of members of those peoples today. I do find it slightly problematic still at times. I think that's probably inevitable. Each culture is represented by such a small aspect, and there are times when the lack of chronology is jarring, where you're seeing very modern objects next to old ones and there really isn't clarity as to how big the difference in time is, or indeed what may have changed in the intervening century and a half potentially. But I think that it works particularly when there's also a European encounter, which includes things like a Swedish Christmas and British Lucky Charms, which demonstrate just how one note those encounters are by necessity. And you can really see by comparison to our own cultures just how little we are seeing of the other cultures that are on display.